Hey everybody, I'm Steph.
I'm Michael.
Today we got our top 10 games that we learned in November 2023.
Woohoo!
Yes,
So,
each month we do this.
We love doing this.
Of course.
These are among my favorite videos. Getting to bring our top 10 games that we play each month. Now, this is not the top 10 games that were released in November 2023. It's just games that we have played over this month. A lot of them are new games, but there are some older games in here. At least one.
Yep.
At least one of them is an older game. So, actually, it's a remake of an older game.
Oh, yeah, for yours, yeah.
For mine.
That's fair. It's still new.
It is still new.
Anyway, they're all new to us.
All new to us.
Regardless of when it actually came out, because we play a lot of games. I think I learned 55 games or so in November.
I learned 49.
And that's about my average, I'd say, between like 40 and 45 and 65. It's in there.
So at the end of November, you were at 597. So definitely going to hit 600.
I'm
going to hit 700
because I've played 3 games since then. So.
Yes, we have.
Yes, I just wanted to point out that I do have a really cool 2024 gaming calendar for sale.
Whoa!
So if you're watching this on YouTube, the link will be below, and just check that out if you're interested in a really cool gaming calendar. So I wanted to show that so everybody has a chance to know about it.
I mean, you got to show how pretty this is. I mean, the board game photography is fantastic because Steph is an accomplished and degreed photographer.
Well, thanks. That's true.
So, and just in case you're not sure what these games are, it always says up here in the corner for those of you who don't know.
I'm curious.
All of the games are right there. And recently, they've started allowing you to personalize the month section as well by putting a background image. Yeah. And those are always board game related.
Yeah,
so
I'm very pleased with this next year's calendar.
Super attractive. So, I mean, look how fantastic that is. Bright and colorful.
Yeah.
A lot of now, when you first said, "Hey, how about a calendar for your office?" I'm like, I don't use calendars. And I was like, what do I need a calendar for? And she's like, put it up in your office. You will use it and you will love it. I actually used it and I did love it. So.
Because it's awesome.
That's my story.
Even if you don't write on it or anything, you can still look at pretty pictures.
A lot of people say that they use it for their board game room.
Yes.
And it influences their playing decisions. So that's pretty awesome. Bam, Steph, we played Flamecraft. Yes, we have. It was on several months ago list.
It's in...
and it is in the calendar.
So there you go.
Somewhere in here.
Hey, Maple Pete, how's it going?
You can talk and I'll try to find it.
Kimmy says, that's crazy. I think I have 79 new games this year. Yeah, I'm at a lot. It's been a lot, which is good. It's good. We've been just chugging through games. I think there's an ongoing trend for like shorter games, so it's like easier to get things played because things are shorter generally. At least it seems like it this year. So let's get to it. What do you say, Michael?
Getting right to it.
Yes.
So, for those who know what conventions go on in November, it's one of our favorite months of the year because the week before Thanksgiving, most years,
yes,
is BGG Con.
BGG Con.
One of our most awesome favoritist cons. And so we play a lot of awesome games at BGG Con. I know Aldi was in the chat here just a second ago. So we highly recommend going to BGG Spring and BGG Fall.
Oh my God.
In Dallas every year.
So fun.
It is the best.
Yeah, we love it very much.
So,
it gives me a chance to play all sorts of games that I wouldn't otherwise get to play.
Exactly. And so we played a lot of these games there.
Yes.
And especially the ones where we did not get reviewer copies, those ended up on this list.
Yeah, a ton of games that are not review copies are on the list, so.
Yep.
Hey, Notable Joe. We saw Notable Joe.
We saw Notable Joe. We saw Zate.
Yes. There you go.
From Board Game Arena, we saw...
It's a cool place to go.
It's an excellent place to go. So all these people in the chat, as you see up here, we got to
I was
see
mean.
a
Exactly.
lot of all of these people
Yes.
at BGG Con. So my number 10 game is not a game that I played at BGG Con,
No.
but I did want to mention that because a lot of our games are from
Yes.
BGG Con. My first game for number 10 is the same as your number
we
10
have the
game.
same one. So let's go with that.
Let's just go right to that. And it's Jokkmokk, the Winter Market from WizKids.
And we just played this the other day. So
right.
There's a video, like right before this video, if you're watching it after the fact that you can just check it out. It's a great game.
Click it. It's over here.
Clickety click. So this game is really colorful, really fun. Just it's a fun theme. I love the winter, like market type feeling of this game. And you're collecting these cards. It's a simple set collection game when it comes down to it.
With Takedo style movement.
Yeah, so the furthest behind will pick next card that they want. So the further you advance, the less likely you'll get more cards because everybody else is going to go and then keep taking cards before that meeple will get to move again. So you only want to move as far as like you're willing to take a card. Mm-hmm. It might not be the next available card. You might want to skip one or two to get the card you really want, but you don't want to go too far.
Right. Well, fortunately, you've got two different meeples. So if you're going to move one of them, at least you have a second meeple further back that you can use to sort of catch up to your other meeple. So you're not missing out on all of the wonderful tastiness that you left behind.
That's right.
So you can both jump ahead to get something and catch all the fill-in stuff as well. There are neutral player rules. If you want to increase your player count with a 2-player game, they highly recommend using one. And even with a 4-player game, you can add in neutral players as well. So, those. The cool thing I think about Jokkmokk is that you can take out certain sets of cards and put in different sets of cards, which will completely change up the gameplay. And I think that addition
is nice.
It's what made it hit my number 10 rather than falling off my top 10.
Yeah, because you're always going to have a different mix of cards. And, I think it will play really well with a higher player count. Yep. Even though it worked fine just with 2 people. But I think with more people, I think it'll be a little more interactive. Like, oh, do I really want to push it and go further and take this collection versus another thing? So I think there's some good choices to be had here. I think it's very simple and,
and highly replayable.
Yeah, I do. Agreed. So I think it's worth checking out for sure.
So thanks to WizKids for providing us this copy of Jokkmokk, the Winter Market.
Yes.
My number 9 games was provided to us by Starling Games, and it is Exoworld Survival.
We actually just played this one.
We played this one on stream. So check out our recent teach and playthrough of this game. In Exoworld Survival, you are building an off-Earth, on-planet station, and each of your stations is going to be a little bit different based on the type of planet that you are trying to settle. Some of them will have, high radiation levels, or low water levels, or high heat, or low heat, or lots of water, but it's going to be some sort of different challenge each time. So the main premise of the game is that you have a limited amount of resources and you are draining those resources rather quickly. And you need to build station modules that will enable you to produce certain resources. Here's the catch. Sometimes when you're producing one resource, you're taking away of another resource. But like, for instance, hey, I can create this water plant that's going to create water for us, but it's going to consume electricity. So now we've got to come up with a solar panel to create electricity for us. So we sort of have to build multiple modules using cards from our hand. So it's got a sort of a pandemic style action crisis sort of mechanic, where you're trying to fend off all the crises that come your way while trying to mitigate disasters along the way. And so I think it's a highly entertaining cooperative survival type game. So
Timmy says, sounds like Fallout. I haven't actually played Fallout. We have it, though, but I have not yet played it. So,
yeah,
I don't know. You haven't played it, right?
I have played Fallout.
Is it similar?
No, it is not similar, but I have played. So I think maybe she means the Fallout computer game where you've got a post-apocalyptic wasteland, and there is a little bit of that feeling where you're trying to just survive with everything going wrong around you. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. So definitely worth checking out. It did not make your list.
Did not make my list.
Exoworld
I
Survival.
did like it, though.
And be sure to check out that playthrough, Exoworld Survival from Starling Games.
Nice.
Hey, our first BGG entry.
Yes, this game that I'm talking about at number 9 is called Surfosaurus MAX. This game is bizarre. All right. First of all, the neon colors and everything. I dig it. I love it. I think that's great. Dinosaurs riding surfboards. Sure, why not? Wait, let's just be totally crazy, right? But the game itself is actually kind of like a mind game. Like, how do you think you can manipulate the situation? But everybody at the table is basically playing one card at a time, and then you're going to take the top 5 cards or so that makes a poker hand. So like a royal straight would be the best hand, for example. And so you want your cards to be a part of those selected cards for the best poker hand. So you're playing these cards. You're at the mercy of what you're dealt. So there's a fair bit of luck, but also, if you can sway other people to kind of join you in doing something other than what other people have already started, well, you might get the leg up in this case. So
okay. I've got a blue 5. Does anybody else want to play blue cards or 5?
yeah, it's kind of almost a negotiation game. Like, look, he's already got all the points. You need to come with me because we're losing, right? Like, you follow the other people. So it was just a fun game, and it plays out pretty quickly. So I really enjoyed that play that we had of it.
Yeah, I don't feel like I've got enough control.
Yeah, I understand.
So I felt like there was too much luck for me, but I can understand, for people who enjoy the chaos, and you are the queen of chaos.
Yeah, it's true. So that is Surfosaurus MAX from Loosey Goosey Games.
Wow.
Loosey Goosey.
It's
fun. I mean, it was Eric Martin's pick of the show, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, Eric played it. Eric often picks out one game at every BGG con that we see him at, and there's one game that he will show multiple times. I think a couple of years ago it was Free Ride, and this year it was Surfosaurus MAX. So
yeah.
And he said he had played it multiple times.
Yeah, I'm sure he got everybody to play it. Whoever would play.
Yeah.
So I actually know I forgot your cover for the next one. So
what?
You're gonna need to type it because I'm
gonna need to type it in.
I need to type it in. I don't.
Oops, it's not even there.
Okay, it's a cool game though.
Nope.
That one.
Yeah. So you're gonna do that while
it's fine.
While I delay just a little bit. My number 8 is another game that we played at BGG Con.
That's right.
And it is it's one of those 3/4
I know it's bad
box images.
It's fine.
That's what we're gonna have to have. It's from Zygomatic. It's called Timeline Twist Pop Culture Edition. Now, for those of you who have played Timeline, it's sort of similar, where in Timeline you are trying to arrange things in a timeline fashion, trying to place cards in between where you think they fall on a timeline. It's like, oh, hey, this president, when were they in office? And you put it in there. Yeah. It's like, oh, this event, when did that happen? Timeline Twist is a little bit different. It is a co-op game. Everyone has a hand of cards, and you are trying to place your card in a timeline, just as we mentioned. And you're going to put it in, and then turn it over, see when the event happened, and if you are if you are on one end or the other, you're okay. If you're between two events, you're going to take up this spot that's between two cards. At this point, that area is sort of locked. For instance, if I have a card that is 1985 and a card that is 1990, and then Steph plays a card in between and says that it's 1987, or it's a card in between this area and it's 1987, she's good. That's fine. But we can no longer play any cards from 1985 to 1990 at
Unless
that
it's
point.
on those specific years.
Unless it's directly on top.
Thanks, Bloody.
Thanks for the subscription, Splutty. So, now, sometimes you do have a little bit of bad luck from the cards, but there are ways that you can discard cards away, or if you do have a card that busts, you will just turn it over in front of you, but you have to make one of your cards in your hand work. And if one person can't play any of their cards, then the team loses. So it is pretty fun. And there were a ton of cards in the box, if I remember correctly. I'm sure at some point you might get to where you can memorize some of the dates. But since this is Pop Culture Edition, a lot of the events are rather recent. And you're sometimes thinking, oh, what year was Gangnam Style put out? What year was Max Headroom introduced? You're trying to remember all of these different things. So what year was Michael Jackson's Thriller put out? Or when was the start of Twitch, for example? I remember we had that one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I like that it's cooperative, so you can kind of like work with the table, and like maybe somebody else knows something that you don't, or they have a better idea. Because I don't necessarily. I'm not good with dates. I have a general idea, for things, but I'm like.
But you don't have to be exact. You just have to be in a range. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that works for me. So I liked it quite a bit as well.
So highly recommend checking out Timeline Twist Pop Culture Edition from Zygomatic.
Yeah. So my number 8 is ArcheOlogic from Ludonaut. We played this. I always love deduction games. This is kind of the follow-up to Turing Machine, which we liked, but because there's so much setup for a Turing Machine and such like a fast gameplay, it almost didn't balance out for time-wise, because you're spending so much time finding the right cards, and if you get the wrong card, which I've done, and then you're playing the wrong game, and then it's like things are not going to line up right. So what I like about this is, one, it kind of gets rid of that. So there is still puzzles that you can use, and there is an app you can actually use as well that helps out. You don't have to have an app, but it's easier to set up, I guess. But you're using these polyomino shapes, and you're asking questions about these shapes and what is overlapping certain shape, like icons, and how many icons and how much dead space, and all these different things you can ask questions about. So you're spending time, kind of like the Takedo. Whoever's furthest back will ask the next question, and it's going to take some number of time, and you advance on that. And so you're asking, you want to try and deduce how these shapes are placed on this board. And I think it's like so fun. It's very puzzly. I love that kind of deduction puzzle. Yeah, there's not much player interaction. I kind of know what he's asking, so maybe I can figure something out, but not really. I don't get any information that Michael says. I'm mostly working on my own puzzle and what I'm asking, but you're limited to what shape and like what side it's like. So there's rows and columns. You're limited to what row or column you can ask about on your turn, unless you want to give up something. I forget what you have to give up if you wanted to ask about something else. Maybe an extra time or something.
Yeah, it's an extra. The person farthest back on the time track is the one that gets to ask the next question. And if you want to ask about something, a row or column that is not the next one, you're giving up an extra time.
So yeah, you don't. But you have the option to do that, which is nice. It's a nice thing.
Nice.
I really want to know about row E instead of 1, so let me ask about that. It just costs an extra time. So I think I really like what they've done here. You can play it on harder or easier levels, depending on how much information you're given at the beginning of the game. So I think it's really good. I think it's a solid game. So hopefully that will become more readily available.
My one criticism about ArcheOlogic
Sure.
is my same criticism I have about Turing Machine.
Okay.
That if you get lucky and ask the luckily right question that gives you just the right piece of information,
Sure.
then you're unbeatable at that
Sure.
point. And that's what happened with me. I feel like I got lucky and asked the right piece of information where everything fell into place. And I couldn't, there's no way that anybody at the table was going to beat me. Matter of fact, I had a 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
I took a 4-time guess, knowing that if I made the guess and was wrong, no one could make that guess before I could take a second guess at my shot, and it was over by that point.
It was close.
You were close.
I had some really good answers that gave me a lot of information. So yeah.
But yeah,
I think the more you play it, the more you'll know to ask the right questions. But it's again,
when you've got a blank slate, just about, the first question might make the difference.
Yeah, sure.
And so someone might randomly be set up for failure and one person randomly be set up for success. That's my criticism with it, is that it feels like, oh, hey, who wins?
So
maybe
it's a better solo game, just in general.
Yeah, I think there is a good challenge, and I enjoyed solving the puzzle.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I just don't. I think that the competitive part of the game needed to be baked a little more.
It could also be that we could do it cooperatively with one board, and then you can ask the next question, I'll ask the question after that, and then if we can get it in so many time or whatever, you could do it so that we have fun playing this game where it's not competitively, because I really like it.
I enjoy what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. It won't be for everybody, that's for sure. But yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So if you enjoy something like Turing Machine, this is definitely right up your alley, but with shapes instead of numbers.
Yeah. So fun.
Yeah. And that is ArcheOlogic from Ludonaut.
Yes.
Also a BGG special, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
Also at BGG, we played Karvi from Hansum Gluck. Karvi is a Viking-themed game, which uses dice to go around a track. Each of the spots on the track will provide different actions, but those actions will come at a point cost. If your die doesn't have enough pips on it, and it's weird that these dice, you never roll. All the dice are basically counters.
Yeah, for your actions.
That you're counting up or counting down on these dice.
Yeah.
So I think the BGG description says something like there's a dice track, but really the dice, you don't really do anything. You don't roll the dice.
Right.
It's just a counter.
It's a counter, yeah.
So, as you're moving along, you are very much another Tokaido style mechanic, where you're moving the farthest back piece and decreasing the number on the die to the next spot, and and there are spots that will give you more pips on your dice. There are dice that will enable you to move your little Viking ship around. There are spots that will enable you to go hunt, or to go pillage, or to explore a new village, and or to recruit more crew members. And all of these things will make your Viking ship more powerful and able to deal with the threats that you're going to find on the board. So, yeah, it is super enjoyable. There's a little bit of set collection mechanics with this.
It's really about resource management. I mean,
it is.
You need to optimize everything to do well in this game. And it's again a situation where you don't want to go too far around the board, or you're going to get you're going to lose all these possible actions to somebody else, but they might not have the food costs to do that. And and you if you don't take the food spot, then you're not gonna get food. So then it's like, okay,
Yeah,
when's
there's
the
very-
next time I can get food if he takes the food spot? And so it's very, very like you don't want to screw up. Like
right. And you get a lot.
punishing. It can be punishing.
Yeah. Well, absolutely, because there's a lot of that Agricola feeling of if they take the food spot, I can't get food this cycle. Like
Get it
that.
another way by cards or something. So like you have to find out if you can figure out another way.
Yeah, this die is not going to have any pips to get anything
Yeah.
for the rest of this entire cycle if I don't jump ahead and take advantage of this right now.
Yeah.
You get that sort of feeling in this game.
Yeah.
So a little bit of set collection, a little bit of Euro style mechanics, and you never have enough action points to do what you want because moving your ship cost action points.
Yeah.
Visiting the sites cost action points. Going out and exploring cost action points.
It doesn't cost action points to move the ship. It costs the provisions.
Right, which you have to get from.
You have to find that in order to move the boat.
Yeah, exactly. And so very much a resource management sort of game.
People pizzas. I like Karvi a lot. Pleasant surprise while not expecting much. So I say I always want to try Hans im Glück games because I am always pleasantly surprised. They do their homework and they do the the balancing and all that stuff to make sure the game is actually really good and presentable. So I always want to try Hans im Glück games.
Mm-hmm.
And this one did not let me down. I basically knew nothing about it other than Hans im Glück did it.
And it was attractive artwork too. I mean,
it's super.
I mean, look at this box.
Really, really
I mean, it is a beautiful box.
But like, I don't think I'd be surprised if this was taken out of BGG library more than like 10 times. Like, I don't see that. It's a game like nobody really knows about it. So but
I think it's a fantastic game.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
I totally do as well. So might be on my list in a little bit.
Maybe.
Spoiler
alert. That is Karvi from Hans im Glück.
Yes.
Another BGG special.
Yes. Mine is actually not a BGG special.
It's a review copy.
Yeah. I got this as a review copy called Kutná Hora, the City of Silver from Czech Games Edition. Super cool game. I've now played it 4 times, which is pretty high, I would say, considering 4 times is a lot in under a month for a new game. So that means it's pretty solid, right?
Anything you play more than twice.
Every game has been super tight as well. Like points have been ranging within 10 points of each other. All the games. Like everybody's super close at the end. And we're all doing very different strategies. So that's one thing to really enjoy about the game. I think it's very well balanced, depending on your strategy. So what I like about this game is that you're given like 3 guilds that you can work with in the game. And they might be totally different than Michael's 3 guilds. But if you're playing
a 2-player game, it's definitely
different. Definitely different. But if you're playing with 4 people, I'm going to overlap with maybe one other person for each of those guilds. So I can build, the workshop, and Michael can build the workshop, but then Susan and James can't build the workshop, kind of thing. So we have to manage that part of the economy. And so as we build buildings, that's going to make product become more available, meaning the prices are going to drop. As we don't build buildings, the prices are going to go higher because it's going to be more in demand because there's not much around. So,
but if we build those things, we want those things to be high priced, but we've both built those buildings.
I know, so it's like,
and so that's the only thing we're producing.
We need to make sure that people are buying it and making that go up so we can make more money off of it. So there's a balance on this stock market sort of situation, this market situation.
I think it's ingenious how they do.
Oh yeah, it's super smart. It's super smart. So, but yeah, you could talk a little bit more.
So, I love all of the different things that you can do in this game. Whether you want you'll use your action cards either turned one way or the opposite way. And if you use a card for getting a plot of land, for example, you're not going to use it for the opposite side of that card. If you are going to build a building, you're not going to use the opposite side of that card. If you're going to mine, you're not going to use the opposite side, etc. So you've got to really decide what you want to do. And I enjoy those interesting decision points. Games with interesting decisions really call to me. My one and only concern with this game, as you said, all of the games are within 10 points of each other, regardless of what you do. And based on how you build the buildings, causes the price to go down. And if you don't build them, they go up. But then if nobody's building them,
the town's going to build it eventually.
Well, then the town is going to build it eventually. But if no one's building them, then no one's reaping the high price. And so the things that everyone does, there's not going to be a lot of income gained. I worry that the economy is too much rubber banded together. You know what I'm trying to say? Is that if you're getting this, then the other players is definitely going to profit on one end but suffer on the other end. And so everything is just, I think the economy might be too tightly wound together. That said, I love the decisions so far.
Yeah.
And certainly willing to continue playing this. In any case, it is a keeper in my book, and you might see it on my list in a bit.
Yeah, it's super cool. Definitely worth checking out. The cover isn't doing much in terms of grabbing attention, but
the game
is really nice. It's a nice game.
Well, when you open up the board, it's black and silver.
Yeah.
And then when you start building the buildings, boom, it's colorful.
It gets colorful, yeah.
Yes.
It's nice how that happens.
Yeah, I really like that.
I do too.
I like the decisions where you're either going to pay taxes to the town, or you're going to suffer a reputation hit. If you do get a lot of good reputation, then that will allow you to get plots for cheap, or use your Joker action as a wild for free without taking. Otherwise, if you play the Joker, it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
If you do that, so
that's rough.
It's rough. But all of those are those interesting decision points that really make the game shine.
Oh.
So,
roller.
Hey, Time Roller, running with a party of 12. How you doing?
Welcome in.
I saw you were playing Last Light, which we just played last night.
So it was not going to show up on this list.
Not on this list.
Maybe in December.
Maybe December.
How about that?
Come join us on the top 10 of December for that one. So yeah, that was Kutná Hora, Czech Games Edition. My number 6, another game that we played at BGG.
Hey, Legends.
It is a remake of a Friedman Friese game.
Oh, yeah.
From 2F Spiel, it's called Black Friday. So, this is a top 10 of November, Dunam 1. Yes. We do these top 10s every single month of games that we have played this month. And since we generally each of us plays about 50 games that are new to us each month, we come up with a top 10 every single month. So, yeah, you should never miss this.
Every month.
Every month, and at the end of the year.
We'll do top 20 or
top 23 of 2023.
Yep, so.
Absolutely. Legend says that means I'm going to buy a game watching this. Yes. Legends always buys a game watching this.
You can Michael's number 6.
This is my number 6 game, Black Friday. This is a complete remake of an earlier game. It also has a green box from Friedman Friese.
Green with Friedman.
It's always a green box. So yeah, I think there's like a bull on it, or a bull and a bear or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game has a few little tweaks and improvements to it, but basically you are buying and selling stocks so that you can get enough money to then invest in gold before the big stock market crash. Because guess what? That stock market crash is eventually going to happen.
When is it going to happen? And you can't predict it.
And you can't predict it.
It's random, really.
So you've got
that's what's fun about it.
Exactly. So you've got these little briefcases. And the briefcases, when you draw them out, it will affect the prices of everything in the market. You will draw them out of the bag at the end of each cycle or whatever, and that is going to cause the price to go up. Or if you draw the notorious black briefcases, the prices of everything will crash.
Yeah.
Most of them will crash. Some of them will crash heavily. And so you've got to you've got to do this balancing act of how many of these do I want to buy?
Buy low, sell
when
high.
do I want to try to sell off? And a lot of it depends on not just the game, but on everybody else's decision-making process.
Oh, for sure.
Because I don't want to lightly invest on things that you have heavily invested in,
Yeah.
or that James is heavily invested in.
Well, you may just
because I'm just
ride the coattails.
I know, might want to ride the coattails and not miss out. So there's a lot of groupthink with that.
There is a lot of groupthink, and Grant from Our Family Plays Games was with us, and he
is fantastic at it.
He destroyed us.
He's like Grant started out saying, "Oh, I'm really terrible at math.
Yeah.
Math is not my favorite subject."
And
then he ruined us.
So yeah, what about it?
So, but no, we had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah, from my understanding, the original one started you in debt or loans or something, and there's none of that with this updated streamlined version. I have to say, I would rather play this new one than the old one. I don't feel the need to go and play the old one, knowing that, I suppose.
Right.
Because I like how they do it here. You get a random assortment of stuff at the beginning of the game, and you use that to however you can use that.
I think they start you off with a little bit of money, but no stocks, and you have to buy the stocks, which causes those prices to go down.
Yeah.
Or something. You have to initially, or they start you with stock, and you have to sell in order to get money to go. There's a little bit of a change, and I think I prefer this new version, though I haven't played the old version, which is why this is a new game to me.
Well, yeah. The old one would still be new to me too if I played it now, because I feel like they're different enough, but I don't actually know. They're different entries in BGG. That's how I judge everything, right?
So there are
separate entry, separate game.
Exactly. So there are different ways in which those the drawing from the bag can happen. Some of which are when you are manipulating a stock price, or when you are buying a stock, or when you're selling a stock. So you are either taking briefcases and putting them in the bag, or pulling them out of the bag and putting them on places. Eventually, the more things are manipulated, the more chance that things are eventually going to crash at some point. So anyway, it's a really good stock market.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Pull and tug. A whole lot of fun. Highly recommend checking out Black Friday from 2F Spiel.
Yes. You know what? We have another crossover.
What?
I know. It's the second one on this list.
Oh, it's Empire's End from Brotherwise Game.
Yes.
That is your number 6 and my number 5.
That's awesome.
So
Empire's End is like, you have this empire, right? And you don't want it to burn. So you got to say, no thanks.
No thanks.
And no thanks out of everything. So if you enjoy a game of no thanks, this is like a bigger gamer's game of no thanks. It's probably 45 to an hour long game. And you are trying to preserve your empire. However, you know what? Ultimately, there's things that are going to burn. And so if you can gain more resources... You can't stop every disaster. You can't. You won't be able to. If you can gain more resources from it, because you're going to say, I don't want this to burn my city. So I'm going to spend this wheat. Now Michael could say, well, I don't want it to burn my city either. So I'm going to spend this axe. And then James will say, I don't want it, so I'm going to spend this wheat. And then I'm like, okay, well, now we're talking 3 resources, and I get this card that will upgrade another part of my city and get me a cool ability.
But I have to burn this tile.
But I'm going to have to burn that one tile. Oh, it's 32 points. I'm going to say no. I'm going to put another resource on there.
Now it's 4 resources. Now I've got to decide, do I want all of this stuff? Or do I say, no thanks?
Yeah. And so it keeps going around. You do all these different rounds, but the main part of this game is trying to not burn your empire. or taking the hit when it makes sense to take the hit.
Which is the same as no thanks.
Yes.
But this actually gives a bit of theme to that.
Yes, for sure.
So much better than no thanks.
Well, yeah, but they're different beasts, right?
They are different beasts.
No
No thanks is a light
place.
game.
Yeah, it has a time and place for
this is deeper.
So, yes.
But if you enjoy those sort of mechanics,
oh my god, I love it.
How far can you press your luck with that? Also, there are different ways to score end game scoring points. So, if I'm trying to collect wheat and I don't want to give it up, and Steph has put a whole lot of wheat here by saying no thanks multiple times, maybe I go, I'll take it and burn this army or this road. So, yes.
Yeah, the game is still brutal.
Yes.
It's still brutal. You're going to get hit and you're not going to want to get hit. And like, if you run out of resources, you're going to have to take the hit for even less resources than you would want. So it's, as the game goes on, resources become more and more scarce. So it's harder to maintain and keep those disasters at bay. But I really like what they've done here. I like the track, how you have these different phases. It moves along nicely. So I think it's a really great game.
I enjoyed it even more the second and third play.
Yeah, I liked it with 3 and 4 people a lot. We played it with a couple times, but
it shines with more players.
It does. It shines with more players, in my opinion. So I think it's a fantastic game.
Is there enough randomness to differentiate skill levels? I think it'll be just fine with that. Everyone starts really with the same setup. You've got 11 different kingdom tiles. Like there's 1 city and 2 towns and 2 roads and things like that. But everyone starts off with the same layout. Everyone will then, over time, maybe they will swap the positions of 2 of their tiles. Or maybe an army card will come up that will force someone to swap tiles. I might have my farm burn. She might have her road burn. So eventually our tile layouts are eventually going to be a little bit different. And if I'm giving up a lot of resources and she's collecting a lot of resources, she might be collecting resources, but her town is going to burn. So there's a little, I think that if you are a new player playing it, I think you'll be fine.
Ish. I do think if you have the experience and know what cards might work better, like for you example, you pick up all these cards that allow you to use your cube to pass on a resource payment.
Mm-hmm.
If you collect 4 of those and everybody else doesn't have that, it hurts. It hurts for sure for the other players. If new players don't know to actually keep bidding, then they'll just take it with a couple resources and then their 32-point one will be hit. You know, they just to kind of advise them on, well, you should spend more resources for the higher point tiles versus the lower point tiles. Like things like that. If there's a really good ability card, just point it out, be like, hey, that's pretty good. You might want to consider it if there's enough resources. That kind of thing. Like I do think if you have experience, you will win.
Oh, of course, yes.
So yes,
So
it probably needs some advisement onto like why something might be good, but otherwise I think it's easy to understand what you're doing. It's just a matter of why you're doing it.
Right. And eventually everyone's going to be a little bit different off as time goes on. So eventually maybe if I'm going to get my 32-point city burnt and this new player is going to get her maybe a 4-point army tile getting burnt, then she's going to try to push me even harder. And you can just advise a newer player, yeah, you need to destroy their 32-point city over there.
Yeah.
And that's what a new player needs to do is to use those differences.
Time Roller said, I watched the Empire's End video today by Board Gamer Steph.
Hey, he was in that.
We just played this recently on stream. So
some kingmaking in politics, you can do that, but ultimately it's each player's own decision.
Yeah.
Now I could say, James, you have to take this, or you have to pass on this. Make her burn her city. You could do a little bit of that.
Yeah,
it's not a lot.
Probably not a lot. And the game's fast enough where I never found like kingmaking to be a thing.
No.
I never got that sense.
Right. Now, there were plenty of times that I wanted to, that I knew that you would eventually give up a lot of resources
Well, yeah.
because I know you didn't want your bonus
Yeah.
tile to burn, and I was going to take a lot of
This is true.
Usually it's all going to be from me. It's usually not going to be where I want player number 3 to do something.
Yeah, the game is like 45 to 60 minutes. So it's not terribly long.
If that where is that?
When you play with 2 people, it will go much quicker.
Is it on the?
I think somewhere over there.
I'm gonna put it over there. I was gonna. Oh,
with,
right, it's up there. I see it.
Yeah, with 4 players, it will be a little bit longer as people are figuring out what they want to do. So, but yeah, I think it's a really great game. And I'm glad that we were able to check it out. It is John DeClaire, and he's done a lot of really good stuff recently. So he's definitely a designer to watch for in future. So
you're right. It is 45 to 60 minutes on BGG. You are correct.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I know because I've played it 4 times.
What?
I know.
So that is Empire's End provided to us by Brotherwise Games.
Yes. And that was your number. So that was my number 6 and your number 5. That means we're on my number 5.
Which I should say you played at BGG and I have not played yet.
I know. What's up with that?
But I saw a lot of people playing it.
I actually read the rules.
I am shocked.
I really wanted to play it.
You never read rules.
Nope, I don't.
So BGG Con has a hot games room.
Yes.
Where you can go and play all the hottest new titles. They generally don't have these copies available for checkout in the library. Sometimes they do.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can only play them in the hot games room. And so you get up early in the mornings, which neither of us are morning people.
Baffles Michael. But we're gaming. We're at a game place. I gotta go play.
So 6 a.m, she's awake, and I'm like, go back to sleep. And she gets up and goes down to the hot games room.
I want to go play.
And plays Djinn.
Yeah, I tried out Djinn. I really like the theme of genies and catching these genies or djinns. I think that's like super fun. So during the game, you're managing all your resources. You're trying to collect bottles and bottle caps so you can then go to these locations and catch these djinns.
Djinn.
Djinn? That's what I said.
You said djinns.
Djinn.
Yeah.
Z.
No. Djinn.
It's plural?
Djinn is plural.
Oh my god. Okay, genies and a bottle.
Genies.
And so what's interesting about this game is that you're limited by your movement because you can go one space in one direction. And if you land in a city with somebody else, you'll have to pay them a resource. And resources are really hard to come by, but you can get like upgraded things. You get cool abilities. You can get you can unlock extra features and all these different aspects of your player board that you can like upgrade, right? And so and give you better benefits. So I was doing one strategy. Other people were doing all these other strategies, and I'm like, well, it was working for me, and so I like that you're doing all these different things, but you have to manage where you're traveling on this board because you're going to a very specific location because you move in this way, so you're gonna have to either go out this way or this way or this way, and so then if I come back this way, I get that action and then that action, so you have to kind of plan where you're going to get the actions in the right order, like. You need the bottle here, and then you need the cap here, and then you catch a genie over here, and then you're trying to like
bottle cap.
Well, yeah, to catch them, you can keep them on either you ever
because you can't hold them in like this.
Right? No, you need the bottle cap. So, I don't know. It's a simple game. It's easy to understand, but there's a lot of different cards that give you cool things, and you can get assistants that help you catch the djinn, and so
Euro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Euro game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just really like that. I like Hall games, so I try and play those. So it's also like Hall and Pegasus. So I like to.
So it's from Hall and Pegasus.
Yeah.
Got it.
Hall games. They've done like the Castle Burgundy, like all those games. The small box, like that box, right? They have like a standard look to their games.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Time Roller says they're complicated edge cases.
I mean, probably.
I don't know. I didn't play. I have to just go on what she says because I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I read the rules, so I probably read something wrong. This is wrong. I can't trust anything I do, right?
So
But I don't know. I really like.
the object of the game
Uh,
is to catch Djinn
yeah,
and put them into bottles
yeah,
and sell them,
yeah.
not enslave them.
No, you just get points for them.
You just get points for them.
Yeah.
Oh, well, what are you doing with them?
So if you
That makes me worried. What are you doing with this poor Djinn?
I don't know yet. It's about the whatever after. I don't know.
So she doesn't know what you're doing with the Djinn, but you get points for them, so do it.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
It's
So
fine. You get points. 10 points.
play Djinn from Hall Games and Pegasus Spiel. They're like Pokemon. You got to collect.
Yeah, Jelvia. Jelvia knows. You know what I mean.
Well, there's different colors of Djinn too. There's like the
yeah.
white Djinn and the green Djinn and the
blue Djinn and the blue bottle. That's better because if you get 3 identical, then you get a bonus token, which gives you more things. So you're trying to do sets of 3, but otherwise there's still 10 points each. So it's good.
Collect the Djinns.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? You're saving the towns of all of their havoc, right?
Yeah, because otherwise they
Oh no.
cause trouble.
I don't know. I don't know.
Pokemon?
Where are we?
We are on my number 4. And this is a game provided to us by Capstone Games called Age of Innovation. For those of you who enjoy Terra Mystica, this is going to be right up your alley. Check out our teach and playthrough video and you can see more of this. So, Age of Innovation, it is basically a copy of Terra Mystica with the addition of a few innovation tiles. And that's pretty much all that needs to be said because that's pretty much all that this is.
There's books, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, so, some changes, but
the changes are so small and minor to Terra Mystica.
I feel like if you know Terra Mystica, we could teach it to you very fast.
Yes.
If you don't know, then this is probably a good place to start in the world of Terra Mystica, Age of Innovation, all that, because they present it really nicely.
Yes, I agree. Kime says, is it the same with the acetate card sleeves? What acetate card sleeves? I don't know. So, with Age of Innovation, you are basically building buildings onto your terrain types and using your powers to the best of your abilities and just earning a whole bunch of points. The one of the major differences between this and Terra Mystica is that you are combining your terrain with a random terrain type with a random player power, and putting those together in a unique way. And so I think that if you enjoy Terra Mystica, you will also enjoy this. Do you need it? Hard to say, but why not both? Yes. I mean, Steph says yes. Steph enjoys Gaia Project more than Terra Mystica.
I'll always play Gaia over this. And I'll always play this over Terra Mystica.
So I think that this is probably in between Gaia and Terra for you.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
So, if you want to know where it falls on Steph's scale, Gaia, Age of Innovation, Terra Mystica. That said, I think that I like all 3. I probably prefer Gaia. I think that this does have a few improvements over Terra Mystica. I'm not sure. I think that the only reason to get Terra Mystica over Age of Innovation is the fact that there are expansions for Terra Mystica that are not included in Age of Innovation. So
at least yet.
So there's a reason for all 3.
Yeah.
So
it's a nice game.
It's a lot of fun. If you enjoy the power management system of those games, it's the same in this.
Jelfia made a Steph scale. We'll call it S scale.
It's an S2
game.
game. Time Roller also prefers Gaia Project.
Well, yeah, because Gaia.
Yeah, Heroic says that isn't there configurability of the factions? Yeah, that's exactly it.
It's really cool what they do in Age of Innovation. So yes, I really like what they do for the drafting of all the initial setup and stuff. I think that's a lot of fun. So.
Yeah. And there's two different ways of drafting too. They present them both in the rule book.
Yeah.
I think both of them are great.
Yeah, it's really nice. So that's great.
Age of Innovation from Capstone Games.
Yep.
Your number 4.
We've actually talked about it.
What?
Karvi.
Yeah.
I really like this game.
Yeah, it seems like you like it a little bit more than I do.
I mean, it's really good. It's really pretty.
Really solid.
You have to really manage everything. It is tough to manage. But if you can get stuff and get good income and
stuff, resources.
If you get the stuff, then you're good.
Get the sales.
Get it.
Get the shields.
Get all
the warriors.
Cards are great. Don't miss out on cards. I don't know. I think the game is really fun. So I just I would like to play it again for sure.
Best masthead for the front of your Viking ship.
Yes, I did. I got.
You did. You got the best.
Yeah, I got a good one. No, that's a different game.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Oh, it is a different game.
We played a couple Viking games. A couple with these like cool boats. Yeah. But yeah, there's just a lot to do in this game, and every decision is critical, and it's not that hard, but it is deep, I would say.
What's the best Viking game? Asks Kime. This maybe?
Maracaibo?
No, Nidavellir. No, that's not Viking.
That's like dwarves. That's dwarves.
It's still got very Norse looking.
That's true. I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not good at. I don't know. Ask Drew.
Ask Drew.
He's a Viking.
From Evil Grande. He's a Viking, yes. Undead Viking. Lance is also a Viking.
That's true. I don't know. There's a lot of good ones. I like the theme.
You love the theme.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that whole like
Vikings, pirates.
Yeah.
All of that.
All that. I love
all seafaring mariner games.
About it.
You love it.
All about it. So I had a great time playing that one. Let's see. I'm at your number 3.
Dunham just posted pulled up the link to your auction.
Oh, nice.
Where you're selling 500 games.
A lot.
A lot.
A lot of games. So if you see anything you want, just place a bid. SR means soft reserve. That auction ends tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Heroic says, for me, Feast for Odin.
Oh, that's easily my favorite.
I mean, that's in your top 10 of all time.
Yeah. That's
top 5 of all.
The best of the best, yeah.
So, how did you forget that?
I don't know. I'm brain dead. I haven't played a OVA game in like 20 years, and I forget that I love them so much. And I love Uwe Rosenberg games. They're my everything. I want another game from him.
Jelfia says she's selling all the games. All the games.
That's right. Jelfia bought like 8 games for me.
She did.
I don't know. Like a lot.
My number 3. My number 3 is from Captain Games. We do not have a review copy yet. However, Captain Games has said,
I know,
as soon as they can get us a copy of this, they will do so.
We'll show it off.
And we will indeed show it off.
Show the heck off.
Because it is my number 3 called Path of Civilization.
Yes.
In this game, I got to remember, because we played it at BGG. There are 4 different tracks that you can work up. And when you purchase cards from a certain track, you're also going to have to give up a card, and you have to give up one of your resources in order to maybe go up in one of the other. Is it 4 tracks or 5? 5 tracks. Because I remember there's 5 cards. There's 5 columns. Yeah. When you go up on one track, you're definitely going to miss out on the other ones. Some of them will give you military technologies. Some of them will give you diplomacy technologies. Some of them will allow you to build certain wonders and attract certain leaders based on what you have allocated. And you're going to place with all of your cards, you've got a left side ability, which is going to give you advancements in technologies, and you've got a right side technology that's going to give you resources for those related technologies. So if you're going up on the technologies, you're not getting the resources, and vice versa. So I really like the trade-off decision with putting in one card versus another. And then you can purchase exactly one card from one of those stacks if your technology level is high enough.
Yeah, you can't purchase two if you two are high enough. You have to decide.
Now here's the thing. A value of 1 is enough to buy one of the technologies. So you're going to be able to buy something.
Basic.
But it's probably not going to be what you want if you're spending 1. If you want a bigger technology, it's going to cost you 4. If you want even bigger technology, I think it's something like 9. So I think it goes up by squares or something. But then you're spending those resources. So you don't have them anymore in order to maybe get a higher level of that technology.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult to go up only on one technology, because then you've spent all that stuff. There's got a lot of give and take. Anyway, the game plays over several rounds. Some rounds you're going to have crises that happen. Some rounds you're going to have military things that happen, and the phases are going to alternate back and forth until phase 9, which you're going to have one last event and one last military thing to deal with. Whoever can deal with those the best is going to get the most points and end up winning. I really enjoy what this game has to offer with the interesting decisions.
Hey, Mom.
With all of this. With the different leaders that come up, with the different wonders that come up that give you certain powers and abilities. And you can have one leader in play at a time, much like something like Through the Ages or Nations.
Yeah.
I get that feel, that same feel from this game. How about you?
Yeah, I think the game is fantastic. Gator Dave says, plus paths are cool. But yeah.
Plus paths are cool. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to get level 2 with the technology to get level 3.
Right.
You can skip right to level 3. But you have to have those resources. And
you're managing these cards, and that you're always going to kill a card. And you have to really pick and choose what strategy you're going to go for. Sure, the technology cards are always going to be the same from game to game. But I think like the leaders and the events and everything that comes,
those are always different.
That's always going to change up. So you have to grab things while you can, if you can. If you see something you like, you better grab a technology card that will help you get that thing before somebody else. So you're trying to like balance what you're doing. And the game is pretty fast, actually. It moves along quickly, which is really cool. So, I absolutely really was blown away by this game. I really liked it.
A lot of colors. The colors pop in this game. It's real. Everything is easily understandable and viewable. And it's fairly easy to understand the game.
So there's one comment or question. How does the interplay between players work?
So whenever you have a military unit or a diplomat or whatever, you're going to put your cubes onto a little tile, either a military tile or a diplomat tile or whatever.
Does that gain you additional like benefits, like getting a wonder or something? You're gonna look to see who has majority, and then they get first dibs at the cards that they can purchase.
And maybe I want to purchase that leader out from under her before she can get it, because I know that she's looking at that leader in order to give her the ability she wants. So maybe I take it instead. So that is a way that you can have interplay between.
So even if I have 7 resources, I can buy a 7 resource card. Or Michael has 4, I can take the 4 one there that's still there.
Knowing that I can't afford the 7.
Then maybe I can build up to it faster next time or something. Or maybe it helps me better. So there's a little bit of, area control for picking things first, or for the military, like whoever has most military will get the
whoever has most military is going to be able to drive off the invaders better than the other ones, and so they are going to get the best reward. And we're going to get the second and third place player rewards.
So just to think about regarding other players, for the most part, you're working on what you're doing, but there
Mhm.
is kind of a race aspect to picking up cards you want before other people.
Though if I don't get what I wanted with the diplomats, with the leaders,
Yeah.
I don't lose my cubes. They're gonna stay there, and I'm gonna add to them hopefully next time.
Yeah.
If I've kept those cards, if I've purchased those correct cards, so I can get more diplomats. And then new ones are going to be coming out every so often.
Yeah.
So yeah, it I love civilization building games, and
Yeah. This does it really well. I
this
think.
does it.
It's hard to compare it to something like Seven Wonders, which it doesn't really. It's not same. It's not the same at all. But it kind of gives you the same, a similar feeling, I guess. But it does it differently enough where I would want both in my collection. I love Seven Wonders with like all my being. Like I love Seven Wonders. So
But I think that Seven Wonders doesn't really build up a civilization. I
right.
think if you compare it to a game like Through the Ages or Nations, I think that those games are a little bit more complex. I think they're all keepers, but I would put those as more complex than Path of Civilization, then something like Seven Wonders, which is not as complex and is much more abstracted as a
That's fair.
civ building sort of thing.
When is it
So
available?
that's an excellent question. I believe Captain
Oh.
Games had said that they only had the pre-production copies available, but
So,
they
I
were
think
there
it's
was going to be
coming,
out
yeah.
soon.
I think it's coming, yeah,
Yeah.
because it wasn't available at BGCon to buy, so I anticipate it will be pretty soon.
But should be coming fairly soon. They did provide us with sides, which is super fun.
Great
Which
little
was
party game.
it was in the April top 10
Oh, yeah.
of this year.
That's good.
And we played a heck of a lot of sides at
Yeah, we
BGG this
did.
year.
A lot of fun.
So Captain Games certainly a publisher worth
look out for.
checking out these days. And when Pathless Civilization hits the market, definitely worth considering. So yes,
Very excited for that one. All right, so that was your number 3.
number 3.
My number 3 is Age of Innovation. Imagine that.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. I love it. I think it's great.
Terra Mystica
Again,
2.
it's not gonna pass over Gaia Project, which is like a 9 or 9.5 out of 10 for me. That game, Gaia Project, is awesome. This game is probably like an 8 out of 10, which is still fairly good.
It's still fantastic.
It's a game I want to play more of. I like it at the lower player counts. Like 3 probably is the best for me, just because that's my style.
Crowded.
4 gets a little crowded for me, but you can play up to 5 if that's your style. So
plus, as those of you who play Terra Mystica know, 4-player games of Terra Mystica can get quite cutthroat with people cutting off one another in a race to get their land areas.
Yeah.
And you can really feel beat down.
Yeah.
Playing Terra Mystica, which Gaia Project does not have those same limitations.
Right.
Which is why you prefer Gaia Project.
Yeah, for sure.
However, as you can see, certainly worth checking out because it made your number 3 game.
I would of course say play this 100%. So, and we talked about it already with Michael. He had it at number 4, so I don't feel I need to go into too much detail, but I think it's definitely a game to play.
Sorry for spoiling your.
You did it for all of mine.
Well, yeah, because I didn't play games like Djinn, so things are going to come in a little bit before.
That's true. That's true. So we're on your number 2.
My number 2, which is Pirates of Maracaibo from DLP Games and Capstone Games. We do not have a copy of this yet. Capstone usually provides us.
I don't think it's quite available in the States
don't think
yet, so I think it's coming. So.
Right. So a lot of people look at this game and they say, "Oh, look, it's an expansion for Maracaibo."
I thought it was.
And guess what?
I really thought it was. Hey,
it is not.
It's not.
It's not an expansion for Maracaibo. It is a standalone version that is it's a smaller footprint. It's a little lighter, I think, than Maracaibo. and still very accessible.
Yeah.
So, yes. Dunham says, okay, preferring Gaia over Terra Mystica. Now I'm definitely returning. Absolutely. Thanks, Dunham. Yes. Pirates of Maracaibo.
Yeah.
So in Maracaibo, those of you who have played Maracaibo know
Great game. Love
it's
it.
fantastic game.
Love it very much.
You've got your little wanderer that's going around, that little explorer that goes around the outer edge of the board.
Sure.
And you've got your ship that's going around the Caribbean in a clockwise manner, right? In this game, all of your ship movement is done on a path of cards. You're going to go from left to right on this set of cards. The cards are going to be offset, 2 in the first column, 3 in the second column, sort of straddling, where one card is next to 2 cards and that card is next to 2 cards as you're going along these columns. And you're going to be sailing from left to right.
You always have to move up.
You always have to move
1 to 3 spaces.
1 to 3 spaces, and you always have to be on a further right column
right
each time you go. You can go you could go 3 columns to the right.
Yeah.
Or you could go way far south and slightly to the right.
Right.
But you always must be moving from left to right. As you go along, you're going to encounter cards which will give you upgrades that if you can afford to purchase them, or you can it's either equipment or people, or you can find cities that you will trade with. And certain cities will give you certain abilities. You will find jade and I believe it's jade and silver and gold, or jade and pearl and gold. And the more that you find, then the less that each is worth, because there are if I've got a lot of jade, there's a lot of jade in the world, and so it's not worth as much.
That's true.
Unless I try to push the price of jade up.
Right.
So you're collecting these resources. You're trying to collect all of the pirate booty, if you will. So also you are taking your explorer, which is on the game board portion of the game. Instead of it being an explorer that goes around the outside portion, it's going to be all on the main game board itself as you're like going further and further into the jungles, exploring and getting victory points. You're just trying to get as far as you can. And unlike Maracaibo, which is played over a whole lot of rounds, I think this is over in 3-4 rounds?
No, it's both 3.
Oh, both 3?
Yeah.
But it plays in a lot shorter point.
Yeah, it's definitely streamlined 100%.
That's a really good way of putting it, as a streamlined Maracaibo.
And you'll play it much quicker. I love the use of cards, how you go to a spot and you fill it in with a new card. So it's popular. The board is basically populating. And so the whole board is made up of cards. And I think that's just really smart. It's just a smart, because in Maracaibo, the cards are so important in how you can get different abilities or end game scoring and all these different cards you're collecting. And you're still doing that here, but you're doing it in a different way.
Handled in a different way.
So, which is really cool. And I think if you're going to do a spin-off game, for any game, they've done this very well. I wouldn't often say that for a lot of spin-off games, but this one, I think.
Maracaibo a keeper?
Yeah.
Pirates also a keeper.
Yeah, for sure. So I super loved it.
Yeah. So, spoiler.
No.
Pirates of Maracaibo from DLP Games and Capstone Games, and hopefully we get a copy that we can show you guys fairly soon.
Yeah, because it's a great.
Great. Number 2.
My number 2 we actually just talked about.
What?
It's Path of Civilization.
From Captain Games.
Super love it.
Time Roller says it should be released Christmas Day.
12/25.
12/25, Christmas
So
Day.
hopefully that's true.
Merry Christmas.
And then everybody else can pick up a copy because we all want it.
Christmas time is here.
I always love playing Civilization games.
Mhm.
So I think
Me too.
again, this feels like a streamlined Civilization game, but you're
Mhm.
still doing things that are interesting. You make a lot of interesting choices in the game that plays out pretty quickly. And so I just really love what they've done here and very excited to play it again.
I agree.
So,
100%. And again, also a keeper.
oh, for sure. For sure. It's definitely, I really like it. I want to play it again before the end of the year, though I don't think that's going to happen. But if I can, I will.
Well, I have anyone who knows me knows I have only 2 games that I rate a 10.
Right.
One of them being Battlestar Galactica, one of them being Civilization / Advanced Civilization from Avalon Hill. So I love Civilization building games.
Yeah.
Of which I think Advanced Civ / Mega Civ / Western Empires, I think does that the best. But I played through the ages, fell in love with it. Played Nations. Actually, you and your friends Nathan and Brandon introduced me to Nations. Loved it.
I love Nations. Such a good game.
And this, also love it. I love Civ building games. I love games with trees and paths and Civ advancements and leaders and technologies. I love those games. More, please. Yes.
So I definitely think it's one to look for. It's really good. And it's bold and colorful. It's
very
colorful. It gets you in.
Yes.
So definitely a game I would like, for sure.
Path of Civilization from Captain Games. My number 1, we've already talked about.
Yeah, it was a little further on my list.
Yep. And your number 1, we might have talked about.
Yeah.
But not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. My number 1, Kutná, Hora, the City of Silver. Like I say, I'm a little concerned with everything being too rubber banded together, but I think that the way that they handle the economy and the way that the city builds things that go unbuilt, I think is fantastic. I think it's ingenious.
They definitely put a lot of work into making that right.
They even make it so that if I build something and you build something, then they say not only is the price too low, we as the city won't even let you build another one. No, you can't even build it. So if there's a third person with that guild, they just can't build it. I really like what happens with those decisions. The placing everything in the city does have a little bit of abstract building elements, but I still enjoy the I need to spend the money to buy this plot before she puts down the cathedral here that's going to make this plot way more expensive, so I need to get it now so I can then put down my building right next to this fantastic cathedral. A lot of good, interesting decisions with that.
Oh, for sure.
So,
yeah.
If we haven't described the way that the economy works well enough, just wait till you see it and play it with these little cardboard trays that you will move cards from front to back. And as buildings are made, you're going to slide a little slider out. And based on where that card is and where those sliders are, that mandates the price of those goods. It's just fantastic how they do it.
It's done really well.
It's done really well. And for all of those reasons, Kutná Hora, the City of Silver from CGE, my number 1 game of November.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool.
Your number 1.
My number 1 is Pirates of Maracaibo because I love Maracaibo and I love this.
Yes.
I don't know. They just did it just perfectly.
Now, you played a lot more Maracaibo than I
played a lot more Maracaibo than you because I was actually working through the campaign with people before like the very beginning of COVID. Then we started playing other games. So then we were playing that a lot. Like I think we got through maybe 7 or 8 games of it, which is a lot.
That's a lot, yeah.
But we never got to finish that. But this is still amazing. I love the cards. I could easily play this.
Now, this does not replace
Oh
Maracaibo,
no.
but it's still worth. Obviously, still worth.
Expansion for Maracaibo because there's like a co-op version. I know.
Yes, it's right there. I see it. I see it right over there.
There's just expansions are harder to get to the table because one, you have to remember all the base game and all the jazz for that. So then it's like, okay, now let's play this expansion. So we have a lot of expansions pending, and that one for Maracaibo is still pending. But yeah. I would love to play that soon because it's fantastic, I'm sure. But this is also fantastic.
This is also similarly, but differently fantastic.
No, it's so good. I love it.
All right. Quick rundown from 10 to 1. My number 10, Jokkmokk, The Winter Market from WizKids. Number 9, Exoworld Survival from Starling Games. Number 8, Timeline Twist Pop Culture Edition from Zygomatic. Number 7, Karvi from Hans im Glück. Number 6, Black Friday from 2F Spiel. Number 5, Empire's End from Brotherwise Games. Number 4, Age of Innovation from Capstone Games. Number 3, Path of Civilization from Captain Games. Number 2, Pirates of Maracaibo from DLP Games and Capstone Games. And number 1 for November, Kutná Hora, The City of Silver from Czech Games Edition.
My number 10 was Jokkmokk, The Winter Market from WizKids. Number 9, Surfosaurus MAX from Loosey Goosey Games. Number 8, ArcheOlogic from Ludonaut. Number 7, Kutná Hora, The City of Silver from Czech Games. Number 6, Empire's End, Brotherwise Games. Number 5, Djinn from Hall Games and Pegasus Spiel. Number 4, Karvi from Hans im Glück. Number 3, Age of Innovation from Capstone Games. Number 2, Path of Civilization, Captain Games. And number 1, Pirates of Maracaibo from DLP Games and Capstone Games.
So I guess Capstone Games wins.
Yeah, for sure.
With 2 of yours and 2 of mine in the top 3, in the top 4 for me, and top 3 for you. So
it's pretty good.
Good job, Capstone.
Absolutely.
So be sure to join us for the December 2023 top 10.
Yes.
And immediately after, we will probably be bringing you guys the top 23 games of 2023 video right after that, right?
Yeah, next month.
Next month. Ooh. So be looking for that right around the turn of the new year.
Yes, for sure.
And looking forward to playing 600 more new games with you next year.
Let's see about it.
So, yeah, be sure to join us for that. And if you enjoyed this top 10 video, we do it every single month. And usually it's going to be the first week.
Either the first Sunday on Twitch or the first Wednesday on Twitch.
Because we stream every Wednesday and Sunday at 5 p.m. Central on twitch.tv/BoardGamerSteph, where we will stream through and teach 3 games or more every single stream. So come join us on Twitch, where we play all the games.
And for those on Twitch, we'll be right back.